In the first reading with the stoning of St. Stephen, we are introduced to Saul. And I was thinking about how they introduced these two different companions that would be going and doing this missionary work, Saul and Barnabas. When they introduced Barnabas, which I think we heard last week, maybe it was the week before, in the Acts of the Apostles, we hear about this man. He was a righteous man named Joseph. He was filled with the Holy Spirit and faith. And they had surnamed him Barnabas, which means son of encouragement. And he talks about how he'd sold this piece of land and laid the proceeds before the apostles. So our first experience of Barnabas is this man of great faith, this man of great generosity, this man who is following Jesus with all that he has, and as a son of encouragement, he's building up the church. And then we meet Saul, who also we hear about something being laid at the feet, as Barnabas laid down all of his stuff at the feet of the apostles. Now we hear about how people are laying down their cloaks at the feet of a young man named Saul at the stoning of Stephen. Now Saul was consenting to this execution, it says, as the last line in today's first reading. And we see, okay, here's someone very different. We look and we say, there's these two different people that we see who end up both being great apostles, proclaiming the gospel. One is someone who, while not a cradle Catholic, because of course there wasn't Christianity when he was in the cradle, but very early on was a deep follower of the faith, as opposed to Saul, who needed a huge conversion, which I'm not sure exactly when we'll hear about, but it'll be soon enough where we hear about the road, as he's on the road in the great light and everything, and God calling him and saying, "Why are you persecuting me?" and this transformation in him. The Lord looks at us and says, you know what? Wherever you are, you're not too far from me for me to reach out and bring you to my heart, for me to do something with. Doesn't matter how young you are, how old you are. I'm not going to point it to how young. I'm not going to point to someone for how old. You guys can figure that out. Doesn't matter how young, how old. Doesn't matter how sinful or how righteous. It is all grace. And God, if we are simply open to God moving, He will come and use us, transforming us. We hear in the gospel today, Jesus, for the first time, says, "I am the bread of life." The people are looking for some sort of a sign. It's just like, you almost just want to say, did you not see the 5 loaves and 2 fish that you guys all chased me after? Is that not sign enough for you? But there's like, give us this bread. Always. We want this. He says, if you want the bread of life, you need me. Need me. Come to me. Come to me and you'll never hunger. Believe in me, you'll never thirst. Saying that if you open yourself to me, I will be the one that transforms, that heals, that satisfies, that makes you whole.